Hi everybody, I'm Bill Evans for Bluegrass Unlimited Magazine, and today's lesson, we're celebrating the genius of Earl Scruggs with his 1957 solo to the singing song, I'll Never Shed Another Tear. I love for my banjo students to look at this particular song because if we're exploring how Earl Scruggs put solos together that matched melodies of bluegrass vocal tunes, this is a great example. It's got a number of licks that are essential licks that are great for any player to learn, and it just sounds really great. Let's dig in. I want to tell you that I do have a very deep dive into the music of Earl Scruggs offered on my Peghead Nation course, Earl Scruggs, A Player's Guide. If you want to take a look at all aspects of Earl Scruggs' playing throughout his entire career, his boogie-woogie playing backup, fiddle tune accompaniment, vocal solos, and instrumentals, check that course out on Peghead Nation. Now, a great way to learn a song is not just to take the transcription that we're offering up on the Bluegrass Unlimited page and start to play, but I would go and listen to the recording from Flatt & Scruggs. I would learn the chord progression, and then I would learn the melody. The melody that Lester sings is, I used to sit alone at night and worry, little darling, for I thought you meant the world to me. But now things have changed and you've left me here forever, so I'll never shed another tear. That's what is in Earl Scruggs' head as he went to try to assemble his solo for the tune. Let's take a look at the transcription. Earl's solo doesn't, on this particular recording, they recorded it twice, doesn't occur to kick the tune off. It's in the middle of the tune. So there's not a clear-cut introduction. Earl is rolling into it. And if you check the first measure of the transcription, you see that pinch that ends that measure goes to the first string and second string. That B, ow, that's a melody note. Earl is hearing that. The next idea that we play is that 2-3 hammer-on the second string. If you were kicking the tune off, a conventional Scruggs introduction might be something like this. So I'm doing pinches, open, second string first fret, second string second fret. So if you're kicking the tune off, you could do that if you wanted. The very next measure, the second full measure in our transcription, essential lick. In order to understand and learn licks like this quickly, my advice is to take a look at the right hand and understand what the right hand is doing. If we look at that measure in the transcription and treat it all as zeros, the strings that we hit would be 2, 1, 5, 3, 1, and then 5, 3, 1 again. Let's practice drilling that a little bit. What can be really tough is trying to combine the left hand slides, hammer-ons, and pull-offs with the right hand at the same time. If you're relatively new to this, or if you're having any difficulty making it flow, let's get the rhythm of the right hand first, and then add the left hand. So here's that measure. This lick occurs how many more times? Wow, it's 3 times total, so we're learning almost 1/4 of the tune with this one lick. Get that right hand. Now let's add the left hand without interrupting the flow in the right hand, hopefully. We have a 2-3 hammer-on, and then a 3-2 pull-off, and then the third string open. Now, I just was interrupting all those to explain it, but the way we might want to practice this, get the roll pattern, then add each left-hand technique. And you can just play that over and over again. Matter of fact, Earl does that twice in a row because that mirrors the melody. I'll never shed another tear now. I love the singing quality that Earl gets with the hammer-ons mirroring the swoops and slides of Lester Flatt. I'll never shed another tear now. Essential lick. The C measure this is the kind of lick that comes up on a C chord in many Flatt & Scruggs vocal tunes and bluegrass tunes as well. We're hammering on into the C chord. If we take a look at the roll pattern, it's an alternating thumb in the sense that it's T-I-T-M, T-I-T-M. The melody, I don't care what See the care that Earl is taking to choose a roll pattern where he can get the rhythmic placement of the melody notes as accurately as possible. I don't care what. Back to G, the melody happens. Earl is going to get those two melody notes and fill it out with an index and middle, another alternating thumb pattern for 4 notes. That's a melody note as well. So that C phrase, I don't care what happens, for you have proved your melody note. We're now on the next line. Melody note is that G note. You have proved your next measure. Going into the D chord, we see crop up in all kinds of tunes because there are a lot of similarities in the vocal melodies from one song to the other. But this idea, those are all the thumb notes in that measure right before the D chord. Alternating pattern works really well for this to make it sound like roll patterns, the hallmark of Earl Scruggs' style. You have proved your love untrue to. The D chord, matches a melody that is just the A note. You have proved your love untrue to me. And this is, Sonny Osborne used to always say that this is where the light went on. You could kind of do funny, interesting things with the roll pattern because the melody note was just that A note. And if we look across Earl Scruggs' early recorded repertoire, you see that this was the moment where he would do some interesting things. J.D. Crowe took this idea and would combine forward and backward rolls. Earl is relatively straightforward here. Just a forward roll, 3rd string, 4th string, and so I'm fretting the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, the 4th fret of the 4th string. Next measure, we have a couple of pull-offs. There we go. That doesn't really match the melody. The melody, that's sort of a hot lick thrown in. You have proved your love untrue to me. Now the 3rd line of the 4-line verse is like the first line. So sure enough, we have repetition in the tablature. There's nothing ever change my feeling. Now we're at the last 4 measures of the tune. There are a lot of songs in the bluegrass repertoire, vocal repertoire, where the chord progression is 1 measure of G, 1 measure of D, 2 measures of G, and that's what we have here. The melody, so I'll never shed, and now we're at the D chord, another tear. A little bit more active of a melody that we find in songs like 9 Pound Hammer or Little Maggie. Earl was trying to really map that melody out well in his solo. The first measure, that's a lick that we use as a fill-in lick in all kinds of tunes, kind of the period at the end of a sentence. Here it mirrors the melody. So I'll never shed. Then Earl frets a D chord. You could hear that if you slow the recording. So I'll never shed another. Walking up on the 4th string, and the 1st string with the middle finger fills it out with a roll pattern-like idea. And now we're at the G chord to end the tune. Earl does a brilliant thing here. He doesn't play the melody note on the downbeat. That would be the note that we would expect. So I'll never shed another tear. But he leaves it silent and he plays a lick that he used in all sorts of tunes in the 50s and beyond, especially in Earl's Breakdown. It's a lick that works for a D chord or a G chord, depending on how you start it. Here, by leaving that first 8th note, that G note, silent, the rest of the lick, 1. Now, I teach this lick a lot to my one-on-one students, and it's complicated. And this is one of these licks where we can pick apart every constituent section, get it right, and then combine it. The first beat is a rest. On and 2, we do a 2 to 3 hammer on the 3rd string, and these are index strikes in the right hand. 1 and 2. Then the next part is something that's really unique. We don't really find this much in Earl's playing. A hammer-on followed by a pull-off with just 1 strike in the right hand. Again, the index finger. Practice that a bit. If we combine those 2 ideas together, let's count it in so that we're hitting it on the and. 3, 4, 1. Now, that hammer-on and pull-off, you can time it in various ways. I'm playing it very evenly just to learn it. When you listen to J.D. Crowe play it, he oftentimes one, and he'll really, that second hammer-on followed by pull-off, one stroke, he'll hit the hammer-on relatively quickly. I'm kind of spacing it out evenly here for us to understand it. 1 and 2 and 3, and then the lick finishes out with another third string played by the index finger, and then let's fret the fourth string at the second fret and then play the first string. That idea, that index, thumb, middle, we encounter that a lot. As a matter of fact, for the C phrases in this song, right there. Our fill-in lick that we play all the time that we encountered earlier, a couple measures earlier, ends the same way. That index, thumb, middle idea is a way that Earl Scruggs used to get out of a lot of things to start the next measure. So we have 1 and 2. And then another great fill-in measure that Earl oftentimes put at the end of tunes, but not in the first measure of the G chord, but the second. We have a third string, then let's fret the fifth string, fifth fret first string, play a pinch, get a big sound, and then roll pattern middle, index, thumb, middle. And then in our transcription, Earl is walking back into Lester's vocal. Lester better come in there or else the whole thing is going to kind of fall apart. That last line is perhaps the most difficult. Here it is again. 3, 4. So another tear. So there you have it. Earl Scruggs' solo from 1957 to I'll Never Shed Another Tear. This will have a lot more meaning for you if you go and listen to the tune and learn the tune really well. Then come to the transcription and you'll see the genius of Earl Scruggs at work, using roll patterns and left-hand embellishments to capture the melody of the song. It's a great solo. I hope you have fun with it. Come see me with my lessons over at PegheadNation.com. You can learn more about me at BillEvansBanjo.com. I also offer one-on-one lessons, especially in the wintertime. So hit me up. Hope to hear from you soon. Happy picking, everybody.